All right, we are live on Twitch and on YouTube and what else? X, LinkedIn. So we're here. We're talking about Ampt, and we're going to be talking about AI today and how you can build AI applications on AWS using Amazon Bedrock and deploying those with Ampt. So it should be pretty fun. I am on day like 7,000 of a cold. So apologies for the stuffy sounding grumbly voice. But I will do my best to get through this. And yeah, if you're out there and you want to comment, would love to hear your feedback on what I'm going to show you today. We're going to go through some of the Ampt AI capabilities, and we're going to talk about the new Mistral AI that is available for Amazon Bedrock, and why that's a pretty cool thing. And then we'll try to show a little bit of that the best we can in the time that we have. So just quickly, so my name is Jeremy Daly. I am the CEO and one of the founders over here at Ampt. For those of you that don't know, Ampt is essentially a tool that allows developers and teams to quickly build applications on AWS using just application code. So we call it infrastructure from code, and essentially what it does is it allows you to deploy Ampt environments to your AWS accounts or to AWS accounts that we'll manage on your behalf. And you just have to write application code, and then our system reads that code. It looks at what you're trying to do, which events you're listening for, what you want to do with data, any tasks that you want to write, things like that. And it does something called runtime introspection, grabs all that information, and then self-provisions your application to the Ampt environment on your behalf. And then we manage it for you. We optimize it for you. We do some pretty cool things there. Excuse me. But it lets you build very, very quickly and do some pretty amazing things without needing to worry about all that cruft of managing an AWS account and IAC and CI/CD. That's all built in for you. Okay, so let's talk about AI for a second. So Gen AI, obviously, super exciting, sort of world that we live in right now. I actually saw a post. I should find this because I think this will be interesting. Hold on one second. Let me find this recent post by, let's see, it was by Forrest about AI because it is kind of funny. All right, let me see if I can bring this image up, and I don't know if I can just open this image in a new tab. Let's try that. Okay, all right, and then I'll bring it over here so we can see it. Okay, so here's the AI, the cartoon that he drew that kind of went. I guess it's been getting a lot of attention lately. This was when he was basically talking about maybe the overhype of Gen AI. And again, he comments that he thinks it's very cool. There's a lot of really interesting things you can do with it. But essentially, we started with this massive pile of complexity with all these languages that we're working on and tool chains and infra and all the stuff we have to deal with. And then you have these non-engineers who think, oh, AI will just magically take this stuff and do something with it. And essentially what we've gotten is now, a new pile of complexity on top of the complexity we already had. So I think this is kind of funny. I really like Gen AI. I think the stuff that's happening with LLMs is super exciting. There's a lot of really, really cool things we can do with it. But again, let's use it use it when we need to use it, and not use it just for the sake of using it. And one of the things that is sort of a big, I think, issue with AI right now, a lot of it has to do with cost. I'm just going to turn on my do not disturb. Sorry. So a lot of it has to do with cost. AI, Gen AI is very expensive. Obviously, you're paying for tokens. So every time you send information in, it costs you money. Every time you get information out, it costs money. And that's one of the things I kind of want to talk about today. And we'll get into the Mistral stuff in a minute. But if we look at Amazon Bedrock's pricing, and I'll move this over here, There's a couple different pricing models that Amazon Bedrock has right now. So the on-demand model, that is you pay for what you use, you get access to a model, you can send in your API requests. That works really, really well. There's also a batch way of doing it, which again uses the uses the on-demand pricing as well. So again, that's nice because you only pay for what you use, which is super helpful. It gets better when you can customize these models and you can fine-tune these models to do, to use a corpus of data that better represents your company. You can train it on specific types of responses. You can really tune these models to your specific, companies or organizations, sort of your tone and things like that. It's very good. It's good stuff that you can do. But the problem is that in order to do model customization, you do need to use provision throughput, which is extremely expensive. Again, maybe if you're a large enterprise, if you're a startup or you're a small business or a small medium-sized business and you're trying to build some of these AI things, looking at some of the pricing is probably a little bit too expensive unless you have some really interesting or you have some really consistent workloads and it's doing quite a bit of work for you. So the Amazon Bedrock has a whole bunch of different models that you can use. All of the models are pretty good. I played around with a whole bunch of them. They seem to work really, really well for what they do. So there's these models here. You've got Amazon's models, the Titan models. This is great for embedding, by the way, the text embedding. So if you're using a vector database, you can do the text embedding. And then let's see what else we've got. The Anthropic models, those I think it was around reInvent time. They doubled in price. So they got relatively expensive. And then the Cohere models, the Metalama models are out. Let's see. And then the Mistral ones, we'll get into that. Stability AI, that's for generating images. So if we go to look at sort of the standard ones here, which have been the Anthropic ones, right? The Claude instance, for example. So look at the pricing. Look at the pricing here, right? So it is 0.0008 cents, right? So there's three of those zeros in there. I'm sorry, and somebody's texting me even though I have my do not disturb on, so apologies if you hear a ping in the background. So that's for the instant, and then for the Claude Sonnet there. So this is in US East. So if we look at this number here, and let's see if I can write this down so that we can keep track of it. So this is let me use my white pen here. So this is 0.0008. So the instant, but let's use the Claude 2.0. So this is 0.0008, like this, okay? And that's for the input tokens. And then for the output tokens, it is, and my handwriting is terrible here. Try that again. I'm also writing at an angle. So this is 0.024. Okay. So now we go down to the Mistral AI models here, and for the normal model, which is pretty good. Of course, now we can't see because I did the white there. There's 3 zeros. So this is versus 0.00015. And for the output, it's 0.0002. So the difference between this and this and this and this is pretty spectacular. If you're doing a lot of work, it is a big difference in price, and the Mistral model is very good. The newer model is the 8x7B. I'm not sure exactly how to say that, but even that is a fraction of the price of the other models there. So which one am I thinking of here? Sorry, the Anthropic models, the Claude models. So anyways, depending on what you're doing, it's a pretty good option. So in terms of what Mistral is good for, in terms of what it works for, of course, the AWS site has a whole bunch of information here about all these things that it does. Text summarization, structurization, question answering, code completion. These are all really, I've played around with all these things. It seems to work pretty well. And the nice thing is that because the cost for sending in the input tokens is relatively low, you can create so the input tokens here, right? So you can create or send in quite a bit of context with your requests or with your whatever the whatever it is whatever the prompt is that you're sending in. You can send in quite a bit of information there, and do that pretty cheaply compared to, and we didn't look at this yet, so we should probably go and look at this. This is the on-demand pricing here. If we go to the provisioned pricing, let's see if I can find it here. Provisioned, let's see. Yeah, okay. So the Amazon Titan model, for example, price to infer one model unit per hour, $23.40 per hour, $9.38 for the embeddings, which is not the model we're talking about. So $20 for the Titan Express, $20.50 per hour. So a little bit more than an EC2 instance. So anyways, I like that this new Mistral model is out. It seems like we can use it for a lot of interesting things. So anyways, all right, so what is it good for? We talked about this, the text summarization, structurization, and so forth. There is a blog post on this that was pretty good in terms of kind of going over those different use cases here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit better. There we go. So it talks about, let me just go down to those so we can see those. All right, so this is the text summarization. So again, these help when you send in information before that, so you can send in some sort of a prompt. So again, you're a summarization system in clear, concise language. Provide 3 short summaries and bullet points of the following essay, and then you give the essay. Insert the essay here. You're a mortgage lender, service bot. Blah, 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 blah. Ensure that the response is clear, concise, and sign it with lender customer support. And then you insert a series of facts, and then you can put the customer's email in there. And then the code completion, your code assistant, so forth, just generate the JSON object. So these are things that are pretty... sort of pretty standard type prompts, but again, it's nice that they give you these sort of jumping off points and sort of how this stuff works. So, anyways, so on Ampt, if you're not familiar with Ampt, again, I gave a quick overview of it, but I do want to show you. Let's see, let's go back here. Let's go to the docs, and we'll go to our AI module here. So Ampt provides an AI module that allows you to basically use Bedrock right from within an app that you create using Ampt, and that interacts with all the different models that they have available. We just added support for a few different models. So we added the 2 Mistral models, so Mistral 7B and the Mistral 8X 7B. Those have been added, and then we also added the new Claude Sonnet model as well. So this model is available to you as well. Okay, so just quickly in terms of how this works, we've created a couple of interfaces into AI just to make it a little bit easier to grok. You do have this invoke model here. The invoke model will allow you to actually call the AI model directly, or call the model directly, basically passing in the same parameters you would pass in to the Amazon Bedrock SDK invoke model. And so you can actually, we'll see if we go and check that out here. This probably will give us a link to the information about it somewhere on here. Find the documentation. I don't know if it's prompting capabilities. Don't think it's this, but we'll look. No, that's just this again. Yeah, I'll have to go into the APIs for it. Yeah, we can find that later. What did it say about the prompting capabilities here? Oh, this is the Mistral. This is their prompting capabilities. Okay. Well, anyways, you have the option of doing that and sending in whatever the correct whatever you want to send in directly to the invoke model. But the idea is to just give you some handy ways that sort of unifies it and manages it for you, so you don't have to worry about trying to do that on your own. So you can just use some of these basic interfaces that we have. So we have a chat interface here. It defaults to Claude, but now that Mistral and some of these other models are available, you can use those as well, simply by just changing the model input that you use. And what you essentially do here is you send a series of messages into chat, right? You bring in chat from the module here, and you bring that in, and that'll give you, and again gives you the details of what you're using here, and that will return a readable stream within a response object. So a response object, you can just grab the text if you just want the text, or as I'm sure we've all seen when you are when you're streaming, when you're typing into ChatGPT, you get that, the streaming response there. Most of these models support the streaming capability, so you can build a front-end interface that supports that. Okay, so we have the chat one. We have a render one that interacts with the stability, stable diffusion model to generate images. You can play around with that. We also have this summarize one, which is just a shortcut. I mean, you can create your own prompt, but essentially what we do is have a prompt that says summarize this for us and so forth, so you can add in more context if you want to. And then we also, this is outside of LLMs. Surprisingly, Amazon Translate works really, really well for translating text. Yes, you can do it with an LLM if you'd like to, but it works really, really well with Amazon Translate. So we actually just have this use this automatically under the hood. So it's just easy for you to send in the text you want, and then the source and the target language. I mentioned the embeddings, so the Titan embeddings that are available now on Bedrock. You can use those. So if you do want to generate your own embeddings that you can put into a vector database, you can do that there. And I mentioned the invoke as well. So, all right. So that's the overview of it. I'm not sure if that is. Excuse me, if that's overly exciting, but let's jump into some code and we can play around and see how some of this stuff works. So last week or the week before, I think if you were following along, I created a demo that was using Hono and HTMX. I'm going to actually use. I created a on my /Jeremy Daily GitHub. There's a repo for this that is just as a template if you want to use this. So I'm going to go ahead and use this template, and I'll call it Ampt AI Test as a new repository right now. We can make it public for now. We'll create this repository so that we have it, and then while I'm doing that, okay, so we now have this new repository, and I want to, let's see, open a new VS Code window. Got too many windows open right now. Let's see, we'll bring this over here. All right, and then we will go into cd /get/sandbox. All right, and then let's clone this. Git clone. Already exists and not an empty directory. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I already called something that. All right, well, so let's do this. We'll make a directory. Ampt. About that, and then we'll cd into this. Ampt AI X, okay, and then we'll clone this down. I Okay, and then cd into Ampt AI test. All right, clear, and then code dot. All right. Okay, so we now have this running here, and I'm going to go ahead and just type in Ampt, and this is going to connect me to Ampt into the Ampt system, and it's going to create. It's going to install these dependencies first. And this will create a developer sandbox for me. All right, so we got to name this, so we'll call this Ampt AI demo. How about that? So we've created a new app in our org demo, and then this will just sync this information for us, and we should get a URL in just a moment here. And apologies again, my voice is very scratchy, but again, show must go on. Okay, so we've got this URL right here. If we look at our index file, so this set up a couple of basic things for us. So actually, let's open it, see what it does. How about that? I don't even remember what I set as a default here, but okay. So yeah, so we set this as this was a. If you remember, we had a data file here so that this would load some users for us. And actually, one of the things that we did as well is we set up a dev server that runs. We run the dev command, and what we're doing is we're running our Tailwind and this Fraglet's templating engine conversion here. So okay, so this is all. We're up and running. We've got our app up here. So now we have a space to start doing some stuff. So all right, we'll ignore all this other stuff. This is just Hono with our data, with Ampt's data package and so forth, and using the Fraglets package to generate some templates. But we're gonna actually do some stuff with AI. So let me do this. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to install at ampt/AI, and that'll install the Ampt AI package, and that should be the latest version of that package, which would be the 2.0.7. This is the one that has the models for Mistral and for Sonnet, so we can use those now. And now that we've installed that, we can go ahead and import. We'll start by importing our chat. From not Ampt chat, but Ampt AI. Okay. All right. So now we have this in here, and let's just go ahead and create a new. I'm going to create a new call app.get, and we'll just do this /chat and like that. Okay, so we now have an endpoint that is responding on chat. We can go ahead and test this. We'll just return c.html chat like this, and we should be able to jump over here and change this to chat, and this will say chat like that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open up the inspector window as well, so we'll be able to see the network and how that happens here. Okay, so we have a chat now. So now what we need to do is we need to actually call a model. So if we go over back to our documentation over here, and we use the chat, essentially what we want to do is just call chat. Like that with messages. The format of messages is a role and content. So the content that we're actually going to send in, the role is human or assistant, and content. We've been playing around with this. So the Mistral has a different way of sort of sectioning off its human versus generated content. So I'm still playing around with some of this stuff here, but I think that this all works the way that it is supposed to. But I do already have over here, I already have a message that is crafted, a format for a message. So I'm just going to bring this over like this, and I will do message with the role human, and then content. I'm just going to bring in a query string of whatever I pass in as message, and then what we want to do is we actually want to call the chat interface here. So we'll go ahead and call chat with messages. And then we need to specify the Mistral model here. So we'll just use this model like this and do this. And there are some typing things here that says that this doesn't fit the chat message thing. So I guess we could, I don't know, is chat message. Oh, but it's got to be, this might work. It doesn't like content for some reason because it could be undefined. All right, so I'm not going to mess with TypeScript right now. I'm just going to do what all good people do and just ignore it for now. Anyway, so this is partially because I've got it in the TSX and whatever. So yeah, I'm sure we could figure out that you could figure out if you're a TypeScript person exactly how to make that error go away. All right, so we've got a response. We are sending in the message, whatever comes back from the query message, and then we're getting the response. So the response is going to be a response object, and so we have to I think actually I'm going to try this because I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyways. I'm going to just return the response like this. I don't think Hono will deal with that directly though, but let's try it. Let's see what happens. And if not, we know how to make other things work. So we need to send in a message here. Oops, this needs to be a question mark. Like this message, and we'll just say, what's the square root of 64? Send it in. It'll probably get an error back. Let's see what happens. Oh no, okay, all right, we got the whole thing back. So the square root of 64 is 8. You got it right in your question. The number 64 is perfect square, so blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's the standard response that we're gonna get from there. But you notice that it all spit out at once, and you see that we're not getting a stream here, we're getting just the document back, right? So if we wanna stream this back, then we can do a couple different things. One, we can just import from Hono. They have a very handy stream from Hono/streaming like this. And what that'll do is that'll give us a way to now return C dot, I think it's C dot stream. Oh no, we just returned stream, right? So we just returned stream like this with the context object in there, and we do an async, and we'll call this stream. Oops. Call this stream, and do this and this like that. Okay, and then just make sure I get this right. Right. Okay, so now we have the stream, so we can loop and you can write to the stream. But what we are getting back is in this response is with response.body we get a readable stream. So we can just go ahead and await, and I think it's stream.pipe, right? Yeah, stream.pipe, and this will pipe in the response.body like this. And again, we'll get a nice little TypeScript error, so we'll @ts ignore that. All right, and then that should stream, that shall pipe, that'll pipe the response or the readable stream into the stream that we're returning. And assuming that works, so let's go ahead and ask it maybe a slightly longer question, and we'll say, write me a story about a Gen AI developer. How about that? And then this should now give us that stream. So we'll get all of this information back. Ooh, long story. Okay. So anyways, the genesis of Gen AI. All right. I'm sure that's exciting. Okay. So that's, excuse me. So that's basically how it works. And the goal here is that we would potentially want to send in some additional information before that. So I think what I'll do is again, there's a lot that we could build with this. So I think that the idea of a chat though. So let me take a step back. So chat is super interesting. If you have a chat bot that you can interact with, we respond with some text, and then and ask it to follow up. We can obviously send in additional context. But some of the things that it's sort of, or what I like about the Gen AI stuff, is the ability for it to understand, again, what it is that we've asked it, and then to be able to do something with it. So I think that for me, again, building another chat bot into a site, yeah, I mean, for certain things, yes. I mean, and it's good to have those things. But if you can take the power of Gen AI, especially at the cost of the Mistral models, and be able to use them in ways that can enhance the user experience, for any number of things that you might want to do with it, but that sort of do things for the user, maybe help the user out. I think text summarization is really, really good. Is a really good way that you can help out users, or help out your users. Like, let's say that your users create documents or blog posts through your app. Being able to take that post and summarize it, that's super cool. The other thing that you can do, and what we probably should do, is try to, I guess we should probably build a box to let you submit this stuff. But the idea would basically be, or an idea that I like, is having it extract information from a bit of text, right? So I think that, is it Notion? I think Notion does this with their AI, where if you type out a message, or you type out a document or something like that, it will extract like to-dos from it, like what are the follow-up actions from it. So I think that if you provided enough context and tell exactly what it's supposed to do, you could do something interesting like that. So let's try doing that, actually. So all right, I'm going to go into templates here, and this is just for me to create a new front end thing here. So I'm going to call this to do. I don't know. I'll call it to-dos. I know it's probably a terrible name here. All right, so we want a doc here. We want a doc type like this, and we're going to call this to-do analyzer. Did I spell that right? Okay. To-do analyzer, and then I'm just going to put content right now, and we'll add some more stuff in here in a second. And then we're just going to go back to this here, and let's call this app.get slash, let's see, why don't we call it to-doer? I don't know. I'll make it up. Async, like that. Good. Const stream fragments. We don't need to stream this. We're just going to do this. We're going to say output, and then we're going to await fraglets.render to do.html, and we're going to say the content is welcome to the to-doer. Sure, why not? All right. Seems angry at me because we don't need to return the body stream piece here. Okay, that's all kinds of extra stuff we didn't need, and we need to close that so that isn't angry there. All right, and then actually in the to-dos here, I'm going to go over to our base template, and I'm going to copy our styles. I'm going to copy HTMX too, just for the heck of it, so that we have it. Copy those there, and now we should have on an endpoint called /todoer, we should have a new to-doer. Internal server error. All right, so we did something wrong. What did we do wrong? This is saying template not found to do.html because we called it to-dos. So it's always good when you spell right. Refresh that, and now we have a not found. Okay, did I spell something wrong? Clear. To-doer. To-doer. 500, 400. What did I do? This is why you don't code when you don't feel well. Oh, it would be very helpful if we returned the said output of that. Okay, one more time. There we go. Welcome to the to-doer. All right, so just going to make some quick stylistic changes in here, and we'll do a padding of 5 here, and let's do an H1, and we'll call this to-doer, and we'll have our content below that. Save this, come over here, change our content. Content can stay the same. We'll refresh this. Okay, it's looking a little bit better. Let's just add a class. Let's see, text 3XL, text blue 500, and font bold, like that. All right, so this should be a little bit more. Okay. All right. Everybody's super impressed by my skills. Yes, Chris. All right. Thank you. Return the output. Yes. Appreciate y'all helping me out today. Yes, I make silly mistakes. But this is what programming is like. I don't know about any of you. This is how I program. I go and I just bang my head against the wall for a minute. And I say, what did I do? And then I realize, oh, I have to add the output there. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's get back to this. All right. So in our content here. So let's start with this. Let's just add a text box, or add a text area. How about that? Oh, it's already got all kinds of things filled in for me here. I don't know if I'm going to like this, though. What do we got? Also want this to wrap because I want to be able to see it. Okay, so to do full, we don't need that. Let me get rid of this here. So let's do with maybe 96, something like that. Oh, that's a min width 96. We just want to do width 96. Border 2, border blue, rounded, LG, added to do. So we're not going to call it added to do, though. I don't even think does placeholder even work in a text area? Oh, yeah, look at it does. Okay, so we're not going to say added to do. We're going to say, enter the note / message like that. Okay. All right, so now we've got this nice pretty little thing here, enter the note / message, and then let's put a button here that says analyze like that, and we can do a class of, let's see, we'll do BG, keep our blue motif going here, make the text white, and we'll do rounded, so a nice rounded button, and then we can say, let's see, PX for PY2. How about, oops, that's not going to work, PY2, like that. Okay, go over here and refresh this, and now we've got this big analyze button that does nothing yet. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to be able to enter in text here. And then we want it to take that text and extract information from that. So the first thing we have to do is we actually have to get it submitting somewhere. So a couple different things we can do to do this. So we've got HTMX set up. So let's see. If we did HX post, and we want to post it to, we'll call it to-doer, or to-doer / analyze, like that. And we want the HX target. We're going to call this output here, like that. And we want the, let's see, we want to submit, do we want to submit the form? So actually maybe we do this. We wrap this in a form and we do HX post here instead. HX post target is the output. So we don't want there to be any sort of swap because we want the form to stay there. Is there a type submit here? Would that actually work? Let's just see if this works. Try that again. Refresh this, test, analyze. Okay, so that's not submitting the form. Let's just double check the documentation, shall we? HTMX. Oh, I've got this zoomed in a bit. Let's see, docs, form, forms on submit. So yeah, that's where I want to go. All right, so HX post button type submit, input title HX post store. Well, let's try this just to make sure. And we do have, it's loading there. Okay, so we want HX post. We'll get rid of this here, type submit. Okay, that worked. I don't know if it was the swap that was causing a problem. All right, so this works now. This sends it to this analyze endpoint. So let's create an analyze endpoint so that we have that. So we'll do app.post, and this was to doer /analyze, like that. Async const await parse body. Sure, looks like it's doing all the things we needed to do for us. We don't want it to set any data though, so let's hide that for now, and let's just go ahead and we will spit back the body here and see what that says to do. It needs to be one of those. Okay, so see JSON the body. All right, well, let's see what it does. Okay, so test here, clear that out, analyze. And it just sends back nothing. I wonder why it's sending back nothing. Parse body seems like it would be right. Let's do this. Let's log out body and see what we get. So that's logging nothing. So parse body, maybe it's just parse. Is that a thing? Rec.parse? Well, go to the docs. Trigger on submit. Yeah, I don't think we didn't have to do that though, because I think it's just automatically built in to make that work. But I do appreciate that, Chris. So let's see. So getting started. No, API. The Hono request. Parse body. See rec parse body, multi-part form data or form URL encoded. See rec parse body. Okay, so oops. I guess we could log the headers too, just to make sure that we're. Oh, I guess we could just check them over here too. Let's see. So when we post to analyze, we are posting application JSON. Okay, so that's strange. Why would it be posting as JSON? Did you name the text area? Oh, that's another brilliant. Probably not. Hold on, let me go back here. I did not name, no, there is no name to the text area. All right, so name, let's call this input. Let's see if this works. Refresh, test. Unbelievable. I gotta give you credit right here, Chris, for that. So appreciate you doing that. Maybe I'll just have you do these. It might be easier, especially when I've got a cold. Okay, so that is working. So we're getting input tests now. Perfect. All right, but we don't want it to replace the form. We want it to post somewhere else and analyze for us. So I think here is where we can do I think here's where we do hx target. I could be wrong, but let's try this again. We'll do output over here, and then we can create we'll create a div down here with an ID of hashtag output. Try that again. Hash output. Okay. Oh, no, we don't need the hash. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Okay, here we go. And then let's just do a class with a P of 4 and a border. And we can do border. I'll just make it red 500, and it would be very helpful if I spelled these things correctly. Okay, save that. Okay. All right, let's jump over here, refresh this, see if this works now. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Everything is going so well now. All right, so we don't want this border to be red. That looks terrible. We'll go back with our blue color for now. We'll make it rounded so that it all fits in, and we will add some margin top of 6, so it'll give us a little space. Okay, refresh. Here, that didn't refresh. There we go. Analyze, input, so test. Okay. Excuse me. So we're getting there. All right, so what we want to do now is we want to come up with some sort of message like, can you review the Smith report and send an email to the client, something like that, right? So this is going to be our input, and we want it to do something interesting with this input. All right, so then in our analyze section here, so now that we've got the input, now again, I mentioned this last week, validation is super important, all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to worry about it right now for the purpose of this. So we'll just assume that the body that we get in on this request is a safe request, and that we don't and that we've already parsed it and we made sure that it wasn't doing anything it wasn't supposed to. Okay, so if we go back to this blog post here that talks about the summarization or the facts here, or could you just generate the JSON object without explanation? So this is something here where, and again, I don't think we need this inst information here, but what we can do is we can say, okay, now we've got the body of the response here, and we've got the input, and what we want to do is I'm gonna just paste this in here and comment it out for now. Let me make a little bit more room for us so we can see. All right, so this was when we were calling our model up here. So let's just copy this information so that we have it. And actually, we're not going to use the stream because, we can, but we're just going to spit the information back. Okay, so we're going to do this. So we're going to have a message that gets generated. We'll construct that message in a second. We're going to have it run that message against this particular model here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spit back the JSON, the body, and we're going to, we're not going to use body. We're going to use response dot text. So we have, if you call this, if you call dot text on the response object, it'll just spit back the text for you. Okay, so now we have to craft the content. So let's go ahead and put this in a, I don't know why I can't think of what this is called, but that's okay. Into a template string, a template literal. Okay, I finally remembered. Okay, so we want this to say, I'll include this. I don't know if we have to, but let's include it, see what it does. Let's see, and I'll uncomment these. Oh, actually, this not. Oh, yeah, it will work. Okay, so we need to tell it what we want it to do. So we're going to say you are a. How do we say you are a assistant? Well, I guess we could just. I got to give some context, right? So you are a an assistant that helps document to-do to do and action items. How about that? Your task is to parse the following text and generate a JSON object with parse the following text and extract any to-do items, then generate a JSON object with the extracted to-do items. Sure. Let's say in an array. You could always in JSON object with an array of the extracted to-do items, and then say the JSON object should contain the following fields, and we'll say task or task name or task. Yeah, I'll do this. Task name, due date, and completed. And then just generate the JSON object without explanations. Okay. And I think this says, right, so then we would, the following properties, so this would be, let's see, how would we do this? Address customers, include the facts below. Okay, so I guess what we could say is, we're going to say generate following text, help document to do an action, which you parse the following message. All right, and then in here we can put message, and then we will send in whatever the body input is. Okay, what's this going to do? I have no idea. All right, let's give it a try. So jump over to our project here. We will analyze. And it spit back nothing. Okay. All right. So what do we get? Nothing back. Payload. Can you review the Smith? All right. So we didn't get anything back. Interesting. And that could be for a number of reasons. Let's see. I don't think we have to await the response.txt, but we can always do that. Let's do this. It's also possible that it wasn't formatted correctly. So const output equals, oops, await response dot text. And let's just respond with this as HTML for now to see what that does. And we can log the output here. Using AI to generate instructions for AI. That is generally the way to do it. Okay, let me try this again. Analyze, see if this, okay, so, all right, so it spit out JSON here, task name, review the Smith report, send email to client. Okay, so cool. So that actually is giving us kind of what we want, but it is wrapping it in JSON. So let's see if we can tell it just generate the JSON object without explanations, and don't wrap it in. What do we want to say? Don't wrap it in code block, in a code block. All right, let's try that. Let's see if this does anything. All right, so analyze it again. Okay, all right, now we just got that. All right, so now assuming that that comes back correctly, we could try to, it's probably not going to be JSON. So I think if I ran this again, it's might yell at me. All right, so that's not JSON. So we could do JSON.parse here. And again, yes, I know this is super messy and you need all kinds of things to verify these things. And we hit analyze, and there we go. So now we've got this, and I think if we wanted to get even more creative here, we could change this output. We'll just set this as pre, like this. Okay, and then so we have to refresh this. Oh, I didn't want to lose that message though, but you know what? I'm gonna copy it from here, and we're gonna change some other messages as well. So we do this, and that I didn't want. We have to do this. JSON out parse null to. Let's see, this does better. No, okay, that doesn't work there. So we'd want to stringify that. I guess we can't stringify that here, huh? Because if we stringify it, then we'd lose the formatting of it. So, all right, well, I guess it doesn't matter if it comes down as that or not, but we'll do JSON dot, let's see how it formats it without us. Otherwise, we can parse it and stringify it, and I just want to get a nice looking output here. Okay, so, all right, all right, well, I'm going to make this smaller so we can actually see it. All right, so that's what we get. So now we have this tool. So like if I was to get an email and it was, let's put a whole bunch of stuff in there. So we'll say, hi, Jane, I just got back from vacation and am finally catching up. I need you to take a look at the most recent sales reports and make sure that our sales folks have updated projections for, I don't know, what month is this, for March. Also, be sure to send a note to Bill and tell him to update his expense report with the numbers, with the receipts from his San Diego trip. Thanks, John. Okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. I'm going to copy it so we don't lose it. Analyze. See what it does. All right, so only two. Review most recent sales report and update projections for March, and send note to Bill about updating his expense reports. Did we miss anything? Also, be sure to send a note to Bill, sales team. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty good. Yes, I probably could just return c.text. I guess it wouldn't matter much, but like that's kind of cool, right? And so that is like super simple. It's very, very few tokens that this has to pass through. I mean, you probably don't want it reading every single email, but think about how you can take information from a document and structure that and then be able to spit that back. So again, this is one simple example. I know obviously it really wasn't a full example. You'd want to build this in, you'd want to save some stuff, maybe you want to send some additional context in, maybe you have much more information about, how you do the assignments or excuse me, where some of the stuff gets sent. But there's just a lot of really cool things that you can do with AI that are not with Gen AI that are not just the chat stuff, right? So sentiment analysis, the document extraction stuff is really, really good. Structuring information, right? So breaking things down and extracting data. I mean, this is pretty good that this extracted, those to-dos from, just a random string of text. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this and play around with Mistral if you're using any of the other models. Compare them, because it's pretty good, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the other ones. This is available in Ampt now, so you can go to Ampt. You can sign up. You can go ahead and start using these models and start playing around with them, start building these applications. And yeah, so I think that's it for today. We did go the full hour, and I made it through. So that last hour went by relatively quickly, but I'm happy that it did. So anyways, all right. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Join us on our Discord. Go to getampt.com. Sign up for, like I said, sign up for an account. Literally, from code to fully manage AWS workloads in seconds. And there's quite a bit of stuff that you can do in Ampt. We've got interfaces for HTTP, so anything you want to do in terms of any of the full stack frameworks like Next and Nuxt, or the backend, Express, Fastify, Hono, all those. Build 11T sites, you can do that. Lots of really cool stuff there. Long-running tasks, right? So it doesn't matter. We deploy everything into Lambda functions by default, but if you need something to run longer, it'll automatically put it into a Fargate container and run with all the same semantics. You don't have to do anything different. You get a lot of traffic. We'll switch you over to App Runner. We do some really great things. We've got events, we've got parameters, we've got a very cool parameter store that allows you to do secrets management, actively pushes them out. Very cool stuff. WebSockets, so if you do want to stream these results back using WebSockets, you can do that. One of these days I'll have to show how streaming server-side events work. It works really, really well, even with Lambda functions backing it. You just have to disconnect them. But some really cool things you can do. And again, the AI, the data, our API, we have a SQL. If you want to use Neon with Ampt, you can do that. So many other things, all of these frameworks supported, a couple of guides here. We just released this. You can use Gitpod and code spaces if you want to develop in an online IDE, you can do that. So anyways, lots of cool stuff available. Take a look at it, sign up, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the AI stuff. What else are we missing? What other, sort of control or flexibility might you want to have? What other things you want to be able to do? There's some stuff with RAG that you can do with knowledge bases and some of that stuff. Is that something you want to see, being able to implement on Ampt? We would love to hear your feedback. So anyways, sign up, give it a try, tell us what you think, and then go build some useful things with generative AI. That would be really, really cool. And we'll see you next time.